Don't come.
Don't come.
Don't come.
Oh, but
Do you know like when they have the signs of the princess? Yeah, it's like holding us hostage.
Welcome back, everybody, to Noor Speaks Out. I'm Noor, and this channel is all about African history and diaspora stories. And I am here with the very handsome, very suave, the very fantastic, intelligent Takunda.
Thank you. That's actually an intro.
Right?
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
I tried. Yeah, still.
Nice to meet you.
If you don't mind, we're going to get into his history, his story, and his experiences from moving from the beautiful Zimbabwe and coming to the UK. So if you don't mind, can you, first of all, would you mind Takunda, Thai? How shall I?
I think you could call me Thai.
Thai.
Takunda, whichever one
Works. Okay.
works with you.
Okay, we'll see how I'm feeling it. It might be Thai, it might be Takunda every now and again.
Okay.
We'll go with that. But if you
So I'll tell you the reason why, like.
Yes,
I think that's a
please.
good story as well. So I'm Takunda, and I think on my first day when I came here in London, I think the teacher kind of introduced me to the class. What's your name? Takunda. So okay, did I say that right? I'm like, yeah. Do you have like a nickname or something like Thai or something for short? I'm like the sound of Thai, and then so it's just been
Okay.
Thai from there.
Fine. Because she just didn't want to pronounce it.
She was like, "Oh, that's a long ass name. I'm gonna butcher that name. It's very Takunda, you know."
Yeah.
So is Thai nice? But it's funny because I actually like the name Thai. I was like, oh,
Okay.
that sounds cool. So I was like,
It does sound nice, actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
you think it sounds better than my actual name?
No, let's not get carried away. But it's popular. I feel like there are loads of times as well. It's quite like.
I think it also help make it easier to kind of assimilate and like, oh, what's your Thai? Okay, Takunda. Like, what is that? It's like so much more questions.
Yeah.
Before anything, so I think
Got some good questions. Oh, where's that from?
it probably got better when I got older.
Yeah.
So I think now when I'm at work, I like prefer using like Takunda.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone professionally knows me by my full name, but like outside work, it's Thai. It's like confused them. Never know where you're coming from. Who's Thai? Like I'm Takunda, you know?
Fair enough. Okay, cool. Well, that's a nice little backstory, a little bit. So, Takunda, can you tell us a little bit about? Can you tell us first of all where in Zimbabwe you're from, where you grew up,
Okay.
and then also if you could tell us how old you were when you came to the UK.
So I grew up in the capital city of H-Town, Harare,
Mm-hmm.
in a place called Mount Pleasant. It's quite pleasant. I think it was kind of the suburban areas. It was like very quiet-ish.
Like kind of outskirts of the city.
It's within the city, but it's like quiet, so there wasn't like too much chaos or like that kind of noise around it.
Okay.
I think I came here when I was like 11.
11. Okay.
2001, 2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So one question I'll have to ask your mum at some point, but for you, can you tell us a little bit why, what the reason was for your parents or your mum choosing to move to the UK?
Okay. I think, well, when I was at that age, obviously you're young, I don't really understand what's going on. It just felt like, we're going to England. Like, what? We're going to London? Yes! It's always kind of like that exciting dream where people are talking about it. It's like, wow, I actually get to go. So it was just that. And I think from that perspective, I didn't know too much. Yeah. But obviously, as I've grown up and like had conversations and more understandings, like obviously the climate in the country as well wasn't like the best, and things were kind of going downhill a bit at that time. So I think my mum made she had a wise foresight to be like, actually, let me leave now whilst I can, because I think some of her friends as well were leaving, or kind of giving her those suggestions too. So she kind of like made the decision to up and leave and come to this glorious country.
This wonderful England. Yes. Okay, cool. So 11 years old then when you came. So when you came, you started year 7.
Yeah. So I actually didn't finish like primary, funny enough, like, because when I left I was in grade 6.
Okay.
And then you did grade 7, then you finish primary and go on to secondary. So I left in like grade 6, just the year before the finals of primary.
Okay.
But when that converted over here, it was more Yeah, 7, which was now secondary.
High school.
High school. Sorry.
No, it is secondary, but I feel like you
Yeah.
comedy for these Americans.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the transition for you. So you came when you were 11 years old from primary school in Zimbabwe, jumped into secondary school in the UK. How was that for you in the first, like, if you can remember the first like couple of months, couple of years that you came?
Oh yeah, I remember everything. So like from the time, like I think it wasn't a crazy adjustment for me. Like when I came over, because when I was in like Zimbabwe, I went to like a private school.
Okay.
So we had like a mixture of people. There's like white people, Asian people, black people. So it was very kind of like there's different people out there. So it wasn't too crazy.
Okay.
But I think the difference is when I came here, it's like predominantly white, and there were like a few black people in the class as well.
Okay.
Type of thing. So I think I was a very kind of like extroverted, like out there, good kid. Okay. So I had no problems kind of like making friends with people or like interacting with people. So I kind of had that kind of confidence. But then I did notice sometimes like other black kids maybe a bit more reserved, and it's like, okay, as I didn't understand those dynamics of like prejudice in a sense.
With black British kids.
Yeah.
In school, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it was just, oh, hey, you're cool. I didn't understand. You're black British. Just, hey, you're another person. Right? And like, no, dude, like, you know.
Yeah.
So I think the first kind of weird experience was literally when I think the first lunchtime when like the bells rang for recess and we went outside to play. Had a mob of people around me just following me to the canteen. Oh wow! So you're from Africa? Oh wow! Where are you from? Zimbabwe? What? So do you guys like live in huts then? Like,
oh wow, yeah.
Do you have lions? I think you have a pet lion. Like, that would be cool if I had a pet lion.
That would be. Oh
my. Who would want a pet lion? But the question was like so ridiculous. And I was like, actually no. So what? You sleep on the floor? Do you think like we actually sleep in houses? There's that level of like ignorance or like not understanding, and probably the only kind of experience is probably seeing on TV with like charity ads or something. It's like, you go to school, you walk like, is it true? You walk 5 miles to school? I'm like, no.
My driver took me.
That basically like, got dropped off.
It's true.
And picked up, but okay. So it was that kind of weird, dichotomy between like the real and like the unknown kind of thing, right? So when, I think those kind of things kind of faded as time went along. People kind of understood certain things, but you always had those kind of, especially growing up in Dagenham as well. Like when we first came to Manchester for like a term.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and then like we moved back down here.
So Manchester, in comparison to like Dagenham, Essex, what was?
Manchester was actually so chill. Like it was like surprisingly, I think it was in Sale. What's it Sale? I don't know, one of the kind of rougher areas of Manchester. I went to school there, but it was only for one term. I think my parents were still figuring out like where to like be in a sense. Yeah. So, but that was quite a cool school. Like, it wasn't too much like craziness. I feel like they're more advanced in terms of understanding than Dagenham.
So you didn't get like a lot of those questions of, do you have a lie in Manchester?
No.
That was more here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So over there, it's probably more just like, oh, okay, cool, you're from Africa, amazing, like super cool white friends. I think one guy I remember like super sad. And was like, "What do you mean you're going?" No, I just finally got a black friend.
Oh.
No, and I was just like, sorry.
Yeah.
Come to my house when we left. Sometimes.
Oh, that's cute.
And then like when we came down here, it was a bit more ignorant. I think Dagenham at that time, I think was a BNP stronghold. It was like headquarters of BNP. Hey, we're the new black people moving in. So it was like a lot of friction.
Yeah.
And like, over the years, like flip turned upside down. We took over, we won. So now,
can you tell us who the BNP are, just for those who
are
unaware?
So the BNP is like the British Nationalist Party. So think Nigel Farage, think like Donald Trump type of, brash racism, nationalism type of thing. So like a lot of skinheads and that kind of vibe. But
so when you were in Manchester then, like I presume you would have had more diversity here than in Manchester. So I'm assuming the school was predominantly white anyway, but yet you
Yeah.
feel like actually people didn't ask these ignorant questions like, did you have a
Yeah.
lion? So
I
was
think
it?
there was like more. You're right. There was more like it was a bit less diverse,
Mhm.
but I feel like I don't know how to explain it, but I just feel like they're more culturally aware. Maybe being Manchester, the history of it, close to Liverpool, where
Yeah.
there was a whole lot of like slave and the race issue was very more like common around those parts compared to like London, which is like the center of its own universe in a sense. So everyone here is quite insulated and like, we're Londoners. This is all there is. Like this is
Yeah.
the best city or whatever, right? And then yeah.
It's really interesting. Okay, cool. So that's like more secondary school, few issues, I guess, in terms of like integrating with the kids and young people. What like other difficulties then can we go into? What other issues did you face? We'll remain as like a young person before we get onto you as a man. But what other issues would you say you faced as a young person, having moved from Harare and the life that you were used to back home in comparison to life here?
I think obviously those kind of like racial like tensions or like beefs that you had with people, but there weren't so many as that. And I think after a while you kind of figured out like who your cliques are and like even making friends. I think everyone was quite. I don't like to paint this like a mad racist kind of situation, but there was those type of conflicts. But generally we all got along. Like people clicked up and stuff like that. Other kind of difficulties, would I say? I think there was a homesickness as well. So a sense of like, oh, I'm missing all my people over there. Like some friends that I had, obviously my friends from primary, we still kind of tried to keep in touch.
Yeah.
And then I think as you grow older, like that relationship kind of deteriorates a bit because you don't see them.
Yeah.
You're literally immersed in a different life. They're in a different life as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what else would I say? I think there's also perception of the country as well, because at that time I think Zimbabwe was coming up on news a lot, like with the whole Mugabe situation. Like, oh my God, he's kicking white people out. You're Zimbabwean. No. Oh, that's another thing like a lot of people used to do. Like, we'd be like, no, I'm not Zimbabwean, I'm South African.
Really?
So, yeah.
Okay.
Because like South Africa is like almost a sister country to Zim in a sense. Like we share a lot of the same kind of history, even people as well. There's like when they divided it was literally just like, yeah, we're gonna carve this and that bit. That's gonna be one country. This is gonna be another. Like, there were people that were separated.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people be like, no, we're South African, not Zimbabwean.
But just to like have a bit of peace
just to take the heat off, you know. And I'll come home like, sorry, Bob, can I have salsa just to like make up for it?
Oh my days, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So any other like negative issues that you would face? Anything that just in terms specific to being a young person, I think that you had to deal with. Maybe even some things that your parents weren't aware of at the time as a like secondary school, high school student.
I don't think so. I think like bullying, there wasn't like, I wasn't the type of person who bully, and like even if you tried it, like we would have those, we'd talk with fists, we'd understand each other after a few fists, you know. So you're like, okay, you're kind of cool. Like I actually became good friends with someone that was very kind of like trying to bully me.
Okay.
But after you know that fist connected, and that's
Sure
what sense. Oh, you're actually kind of a nice guy.
So any other issues you would say that you faced growing up after moving to the UK? Any other negative issues?
I don't think maybe negative issues per se, and I don't think that's the part of the story that my mom probably wouldn't be hearing right now.
Mommy! Sorry, go on.
You know, I think I've always been kind of fat, like I said. Out there, a kid, kind of got into trouble like a lot, even back in Zoom. Like, I think they even tested me for like ADHD, that kind of thing, because I was so disruptive. I think in terms of like in class, but they're like, no, I think your son gets bored easily, and like you start like getting distracted other people. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. Anyway, I say that to say this. So some of those tendencies obviously carried forward.
Okay.
And
so England didn't change you.
You know. fuel, fire,
Mhm.
add gasoline. Anyway, like, nah, not that bad. But anyway, like, I think there's a difference between like your home life and what you know compared to like what's out there as well.
Mhm.
Whereas like parents don't live in that world where like for them it's the home life, work, and all that other thing around it. Whereas growing up in this culture and learning it, especially from like a school age as well, you have to kind of get initiated almost like with other children. So
Yeah.
this is how it is. So stuff like gangs, like stuff like stealing, fights, all of that kind of stuff comes into the foreground where you're like, oh, you know, like it starts clashing with like your parental values, like
Yeah.
what they see for you and what you are seeing out there, or like what your peers are like doing as well or saying. So I think there's that bit of a disconnect in terms of understanding with parents, where it's like you're developing into like a Londoner or like adapting to the country,
Yeah.
whereas they're like, okay, what's happening, like,
Yeah.
and trying to keep you within those values. I think there's that kind of clash.
And do you think that was kind of almost like an identity issue in a way, where at home you're supposed to be sweet Zimbabwean, but okay, you weren't necessarily sweet back home, but as in
That's sweet. No, I was sweet. Don't be insistent.
no, we know.
I'll sweet and sour, you know. Sweet and sour. So,
But do you know, like in a way, were you sort of one way at home, or sort of present yourself one way, and then outside you were this?
no, I think it was all to be fair, I think it was all together. Like
Okay.
I said, I'd never had problems kind of adjusting. Like coming in, I think there was not too much of a friction in terms of like, oh my god, this is way different. It's more like this is what it is, the new reality, just kind of adapt and get on with it. So I don't think there was that much looking back and going, oh my god, this is so different. Again, I think that's because of my character as well. I've always been kind of like adventurous.
Yeah.
So it just felt like a new adventure rather than like there's a difference. Yeah. And then I think the difference with that is how you get reprimanded at home compared to here. Like in Africa, I'm pretty sure you know, waste no time. At home, at school, even in public, anyone who sees you misbehaving, it's like that. Whereas I feel like it might be different. Whereas if I was back home in Zimbabwe, I wouldn't have room to do so much mischief in a sense. Compared to like here, it's like you kind of learn to finesse and like get away with stuff. And I think it's very much a London type of mentality.
Yeah.
Don't want to speak for everyone, but
I'm with you. That makes sense.
yeah.
Who helped you, or like, did you have any people that were particularly supportive when you came? Any like teachers, any teaching assistants, or other people in the community maybe that like, although you didn't, I know you didn't necessarily struggle so much. I guess.
But there were kind of things where where you would be like misunderstood, and then I think there were some saints. There's just a great English teacher, so she was like, "Oh, you're actually quite talented, but I think you play around with too much." You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So they kind of helped as well, like understand that it's a bit different, and you acting out because you try to fit in a sense. But regardless, before that, like you're actually quite smart. You actually like know you like good at what you're doing.
Yeah.
So they kind of gave. So when I was getting in trouble, they would kind of like help sit you down and be like, "Listen, we took some sense into you." I don't think anyone's talking sense to you right now, but yeah.
Okay.
There's a few teachers like that. I think one of them was like my maths teacher, English teacher, who's that one? French teacher. She hated my guts, but she loved me really.
Eventually, she came around.
No. She actually. I don't know. To this day, I was like, I think maybe I just broke the relationship. You know, you're like teacher in between. I love you, but like you're very disruptive. To, like, all the best to you. Great. Type of thing.
Kind of in between somewhere.
Yeah. So I think my teachers probably had more support.
Okay.
There's a great guy, Mr. Sakadakis, when I was in sixth form college times. Like I always have his sayings with me because we'll be doing coursework and it's like, guys, what are you doing? Where's the deadline? Was on Tuesday. Oh, we're still working on it. Oh, it's now next week. It's like, guys, and it's literally because like he would see our work and we would put like extra effort into it. So there's like some of our friends like would go above and beyond the assignment.
Yeah.
Like you genuinely enjoy what you're doing and you try to create something that's great, but you're taking your time with it. We've set this time and it's like, okay guys, I'm gonna give you more time because I know this is cool whenever, but the rope is tightening. It's always saying. you're close to the edge. Like,
Oh my
he would
goodness.
love doing that comments class. You're close to the edge. Guys, the rope is tightening. You passed my deadlines. This is the hard deadline. I have to send it off to like Ofcom or whatever.
Yeah.
Ofcom, education board.
Ofcom,
Ofcom.
yeah.
It's like, guys, like, cool. So, yeah. So it's like people like that. They'll kind of give you some of their perspectives as well as immigrants or like citizens of like another country. Because I think he was from, I forgot where it's from, like Malta or Cyprus or something.
Oh, okay.
So you obviously understood the whole kind of difference. Like, you know what, in this country, so it kind of give you like some advice around that thing that you didn't hear elsewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. Okay. But so let's go a little jump a couple of years. Then what are you? We've done the primary, done the secondary. Nice. Now into uni sort of work-wise. What are you up to and doing at the moment in the UK?
Okay, so I'm a product strategist. Yeah, everyone's like, "Ooh, what is that?" I don't know what that is. So essentially, we kind of like help, I guess, businesses figure out what to build, experiences to build for customers that connect to them. So if you imagine like Spotify, for example, like someone had to kind of design what it would be, what the features would be on Spotify, why they matter to people, and how that makes money. So that whole business model had to be scoped out before it was even produced. So we help identify what that thing is, by looking at what the business goals are and what users' needs are, like what people want, and then find a happy path that makes them money and like pleases people. So
okay. Hey, after all the mischief in school, you did all right.
Told you. Made it in. Mom's proud. I was like, okay.
Somehow we managed.
Did my job.
Oh my goodness. Okay, cool. So.
Oh, can I even tell you like about uni though?
Oh, come on.
Look back. This is terrible.
Yes, please.
As we look at, can you see like my graduation picture there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, very wild story.
Interesting times. But you made it there, so that's helpful. Come on, tell us, please.
Alright, cool. So that sounds so bad. I'm sorry. So anyway, like cool. We're going to uni now.
Yeah.
A levels finished. Parents like, okay, what are you doing? We're gonna do accounts. Be an accountant.
Okay.
Like the typical doctor. I rejected the doctor lawyer route. So I was like, dead. Accounting, I was like, okay, because I did it. I was like, that could work. And then I interned like for a week in like an accounting firm. Had good grades in like my A-level times, and it put you forward for like apprenticeships, right?
Okay.
So I was like, okay, cool. Let me go figure what this thing is.
Okay.
So I just went and I was like, this is dead. It's killing me. I think I'm much more like creative person, and I need to do something creative. And I really love like computers, gadgets, stuff like that. I'd be so into it. Like if you ask me what magazines would you get, I'll be getting like gadget. Like, oh, that's the new. Look at these new phones. Look at these new like stuff. So I was quite interested in like that tech kind of.
I don't know, but yeah. No, that's
techie nerdy way. I guess it's like nowadays it's probably not as seen as nerdy too much because it's money.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wanted to do something along those lines. She wanted me to do accounting, so I found out that I didn't get my uni that I wanted to go to. I couldn't actually get accounting, and then I got accepted for computer science at Renown. I was like, yes, I accepted, got a deal.
Did mummy know about it? Okay.
So I'm accepted now for a computer science degree. I tell mom that it's like an accounting degree, but I was like, oh yay.
Hey. How long did we do this for?
Yes.
You didn't get there, and she didn't.
Nah. But it was within that year. Like, I was like, oh shit, my graduation's actually coming up, so I actually have to actually switch my course. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so was she happy? Because you got to the end. No? Okay.
Obviously, she was pissed. Like, why have you changed your course?
I
Well, I was
didn't
like, I just didn't like
say.
that. Didn't say nothing. I was just like, I was scared to tell you.
Oh my
Set on this.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of like a stress point of our relationship as well. Where I was like,
Mm.
dude, how you going to trust me with something like important as this?
Yeah.
So in hindsight, I do understand it was kind of like definitely the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
But I think at that time I was very much more like scared of her. I was like, oh gosh, what's she gonna do?
Mm.
You know, I didn't man up and just tell her like, listen, change
This is
course.
what we do.
Yeah.
Did you feel that you wouldn't get the support, or was it like
Yeah.
ignorance?
I just think it was like that. Like, you know what? Let's just do ignorance right now because we're happy. Everyone's happy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want another war, you know.
Yeah.
And then like you go to, yeah, it's like let's just. And I don't know what I was thinking, to be honest. With you. It was like,
Yeah.
it's gonna come out. Like,
Oh my goodness. To be fair, I feel like that's the benefit, I guess, of going uni here, where your parents are like so uninvolved in that whole process.
yeah.
Where you can do a completely different course. And they didn't have a clue. Or you could not be in
You could actually never be in.
And,
That was terrible.
yeah. But it's
So
okay.
yeah, we graduated.
Graduated, computer science. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then I think after that, I kind of didn't know what to do because I didn't. After finishing the course, I found out I don't actually like computer science and coding. Yeah.
Did you tell mum that? Or please tell me that. Okay, yeah, good. Mm-hmm.
So, okay, what jobs are you getting? So I didn't basically want to be like a software developer or something like that.
Okay.
I wanted to be kind of more on the concepting side of things. Of like, cool, let's build this. So at the time, I didn't know what it was called or
Yeah.
how to. I don't even think like the field kind of existed as well. This was around 2012
Okay.
when startups were starting to like pop up and
Yeah.
people were like, oh my god, this new Facebook, this new stuff going on.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted to be involved in that scene. So I kind of went into the London startup ecosystem. Like just going to events, networking, finding. I think there was a event called Social Media Week,
Okay.
which is basically events from all these different companies talking about social media and the impact of it's going to change in their lives. So I was like, okay, cool. Long story short, did a couple of jobs there, met a couple of people, and then I landed in advertising,
Okay.
which is like, oh, they're looking at the importance of technology, how it affects like the brands and the way people interact. I was like, this sounds like where we should be. Yeah, this is it. Cool. So I went into like Adland. Yeah, so I was a planner, strategist at an agency in London. I'd had an internship basically as like something else, account person,
Okay.
and they're like, oh, okay, intern's done, you can go. I'm like, no job. Maybe talk to some people that can give you pointers of where to go next. So I kind of talked to people in the company, and they were like, oh, looks like you go here, looks like you go there. So I sent an email like on my last day, like a couple staff. I was like, hey guys, thank you for having me, but it just wouldn't be me if I didn't say some things. I don't think I ever got to say some stuff. So I was like, okay, these processes that you're doing, use these apps. These apps help what you're trying to do over here. I've been using this. Look, I record my meeting notes and it transcribes it for me. And that's like how many hours that you're wasting doing that? There you go. So it was like a lot of just different stuff. Like, but they said, oh, shit, you know a lot about technology and like different apps and stuff and like their benefits. Do you want to kind of come into strategy intern with us and we can see? So that's kind of how I got into it and understanding what advertising is, strategy.
So this is on your way out of
Yeah.
like your job is, or not your job, but the training has ended now.
Yeah, not even training, it's an internship. So it's just like, we have you for a month,
Yeah.
see if you pick some stuff up, if you impress your team. And I was like working with one team within the company, so obviously they're working up an account.
Yeah.
One account to one person. So let's say they're working for Coca-Cola, that's the account they're handling, that's it. Don't really speak with everyone else too much.
Okay, and
There's
so
other teams doing other things.
Yeah.
So
you're in this team.
they just want, they just were like, yeah, thanks dude, but
Yeah.
it's cool, blah, blah, blah.
But then on your way out the door, then you're like to everybody else.
Like whole company email, because you got a company email, right? So
Yeah.
all staff, I was like, wow, I'm gonna say my thoughts, spread my thoughts. Like this is what I think. Hopefully, might help someone here, or help some people here. that's kind of like my leaving gift. So I kind of just thought like, hey, okay.
What provoked you to do that?
I was just thought like, if I'm going out, I think it was just having that stuff of like not being taken serious.
Yeah.
Or like having stuff to say, but you can't say it because people are shutting you down.
Yeah.
I felt it was very much that. I felt kind of like underestimated in a sense within that team. And then even when I put forward some ideas or suggestions, hey, I know we've been in these meetings, I've been quiet and chatting you. You know, this is kind of a good idea because this is where like the kids are. We're trying to aim for these kids and stuff. Social, this is Snapchat. It's a social channel.
Yeah.
It works like this. Why don't we do something around this? And it's like, okay, I don't know what this dude's talking about. Cool. And then they just like shelved it.
Yeah.
Moved on. So when it came to the end, they're like, no job. I was like, oh, I don't know what else I could have done. Or, you know what I mean? So I was just like, hey, here's my thoughts. Bow.
Everybody's gonna know. Do you feel like it was a racial issue as to why like some of the things you were saying weren't being taken serious, or do you think it was just you were just this young intern? And,
yeah,
you know,
I think there might not. I don't even think it was, maybe like undertones of it, of like again just not being taken serious. I don't think they had any intentions to be like, oh, we're not gonna listen to you, but it's more just like, okay. And the stuff I was saying as well was like, I don't know how to handle that, so that's kind of too new, or like, we know we've got like a program to follow. This is what we do. This is what it is. Okay, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Right. So if you don't know what you're looking at, you can miss what you get. Right.
Yeah.
So I think by sending that out, I just kind of had like, hey, at least you're gonna know this is what my thinking was and whatever.
This has been on my heart for however long.
Yes, it's been on my chest for a month. So that caught the attention of like the head of strategy and one lead strategist. Like, oh, this guy dude. Like that's what we're talking about in terms of tech platforms and stuff. Maybe we should get him back for it. So they gave me. I think the next day I came back. I was downstairs, very low key. Like right, so like, give us history. I was like, yeah, computer science. Did this, been in startups and stuff, and like, okay, can you talk about like, yeah, these programs you could do stuff like this, like the future. So now you're talking about the future of the industry, which is like something strategy handles.
Yeah.
You know, when you're talking to accounts people, their delivery teams, like, okay, we need to get this to production on this day. Let's go. So in terms of that bigger picture thinking, like, that falls
forward.
It falls in strategy. So that they picked up on it. And they're like, oh, okay, maybe you try come for internship with us. I think it was like a 3-month internship.
Okay.
Yeah, so that comes for 3 months. Like, okay, more internships. I just want a job, man.
It's alright. We did the 3 months.
Yeah, I did the 3 months.
Yeah.
I think after it, I smashed it. They were like, yeah,
okay,
junior strategist, and then like we started from there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I got like my foot in the door, kind of thing. So
nice.
that's what about it. Sometimes you just have to put your foot in the and then push it, and then they're trying to close. You know?
When they're trying to close the door, burst through.
Yeah, or burst through. Kick down the door.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. I'm really impressed. I don't think I've heard of anybody doing anything like that. That's why I asked you. I was like, but who? Like, I'm surprised no one sort of advised you, or I don't know. If, like, you just said, I'm just gonna.
I think it's
tell
like
you
the answer. It's just the answers to sometimes.
Mm.
It's like, yeah, play it. Just go do what you need to do, kind of thing. Because I just felt like in that situation, I was getting close. You know, sometimes you don't know what you want to. You don't know exactly what it is. You can't really touch it or feel it, but you know you can feel it. Like, this is where I'm trying to go. This seems like the right place for this. You know what I mean? So sometimes it kind of leads you to those things. I think as an advice thing, it's like sometimes you follow. It might not be a very straightforward path, but it's like, oh, that's interesting. Why is that interesting? And you follow that into to where I'm at today. So even then, I was a strategist, but it wasn't like what I fully wanted to do. Because I think when I was there, I was trying to communicate, okay, this is my career development, so stuff I want to do.
Yeah.
Focus on tech and stuff like that. Oh, we could try to support it, and they tried as well, and we built some stuff in there as well in the company. But I think ultimately I was kind of getting frustrated because like all the projects I work on, one, I don't really kind of get to see clients or like pitch my own ideas. I pitch it internally, someone picks it up, takes it.
Okay.
I'm junior, I suppose. But
yeah.
even then. And then like we wouldn't make stuff. It always ended up just being an advert. TV, radio, digital. Was like, let's not create ads, man. Let's create things. That's the good advertising. If you like all of that stuff, like
Yeah.
it was being said, but it wasn't action like being taken. And yeah, I just got impatient. I was like, okay, time to go now.
Time to go.
It's time. And then I found some place, and then now I'm like here. I'm like, this is what I was talking about 5 years ago. 5 years.
I've been strategizing this whole
5
thing.
years. You know, now you're actually doing that kind of thing, kind of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of my journey.
I'm super impressed. So, Mr. Tai, Mr. Takunda, please tell us what are your plans in the next 5 to 10 years. What are you thinking to do, Mr. Strategist, Senior Strategist Extraordinaire?
Statistical extraordinaire.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think my plans for the next 5 to 10 years are probably like, you know, world domination.
Hey, amen.
You know, just got a common career. I think I'm very much like an entrepreneur. So I think probably in 5 to 10 years be running a company or businesses. I've already run some already, but it's like right now work is like going good. But yeah, I think I'm not. Yeah, it's just globally. So I'm not a person that's kind of like into just working in one place or just being like that. I'm very like creative, like I said, an entrepreneur as well. So I just see myself just doing what I want to do, and that might sound kind of like nebulous and a bit different, but like being a strategist, obviously you see so many like different trends or like opportunities, and like you learn how to look at the addressable market, audiences, and like, how can that work for these people? So there's always like business ideas or stuff going on. So like, so I can see myself in 10 years, like, you know, doing something global. Where like I actually want to go back like to Africa, and just be in multiple like different continents, you know, not just like one place, but like be here, be there. Be there. You know, told you world domination.
World domination, baby. Oh, so going back, where have you got a particular place in mind that you might want to? You're coming to Uganda, basically. That's what
I think that's what when do you know when you said like I'm about to come to Uganda, like cool. But yeah, Africa definitely. I've not obviously decided where yet. It's not a thing, but hey, listen. So when we go in Uganda,
hey, next week, come on.
Let's just take me Uganda, guys. You know, if you start seeing me come there, like
yes, Kampala already. We'll do this.
My friend's actually been there. He was like singing praises about it. So
it's so nice, honestly. Let me not be like raving about like this, but you'll enjoy it definitely.
Nice.
It's short. Okay, so next 5-10 years with world domination, living by intercontinental. Kind of thing. Okay, so what advice would you give to somebody who maybe from Zim, from Africa, who is thinking maybe let me come to the UK, move to London or Manchester, wherever? What?
My brother, don't do it. It's a trap.
Hey.
It's a trap. It's a trap. Don't come.
Don't come.
Don't come.
Oh, but
do you know like when they have the signs of the prison? Yeah, it's like holding us hostage. Don't come. I just think there's opportunities 100%. There's also downsides as well, and I just feel like on the grander scheme of things, the ambition shouldn't be to like come over here, you know. Like if you're coming for opportunities and doing stuff, great, but it should always also be about going back and building like our own continent as well. I think that's something that I'm very into and like advocate for as well, because man, like, you know, not saying the people them now, but like this country has obviously colonial history of coming to the continent and like plundering, bringing it back here. So I think this is why we move here sometimes. It's like, come on, take back what's ours, you know?
Yeah. So come, grab, learn. Yeah,
so as much as you're coming here, like, what I would also say is don't get caught in the fugazis. Like, be mission focused and understand why you're coming, what you want to get out from it, and then like work towards that plan, because it's much easier for like older people to do, whereas like kids, I feel like I was literally gone with the wind, you know, like hey, I'm British now. You think I'm British? Okay. wait,
Yeah.
sit down. So yeah, that's the advice I'll give. Just literally know what you want to get from it, access those opportunities, and then bring those opportunities back.
Okay. So very much make that a short-term transitional, but come in for a bit.
And at the same time, like if you do want to come into the, I mean, great. Like definitely, it's a great country. There's great things to do. There's lots of opportunities. There's lots of like interesting stuff. But you just must know it's a cold country. You know, it's cold. It's cold. So we're in this month. This month that we're in right now, we're from like May, June, July, August. That's it. And then kiss the sun goodbye.
Yeah.
You're cool with that?
That's the truth.
100%.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So specifically then, because you came here as a child, what advice would you give to a parent who is thinking of coming with their family, with their younger children? What recommendation maybe would you give them in order to nurture their diaspora child in the UK, in somewhere in the West, maybe?
Yeah. I just think for parents, I think just if you maintain like a close relationship with your children, always talking to them as well, trying to understand their perspectives, because I think as kids you learn much more quicker because it's new to you. So like you'd be surprised that kids know more about stuff in this country that can help you as a parent. Yeah. Where like, oh, my kid actually saved me because he knew that. Did you know that you have rights? Like these things here, like you can return them. Like, oh wow, you know? Yeah. Stuff like that. And also by maintaining like being in their lives and active, because I think like when a lot of parents come here as well, there's the not hustle culture, but they want to like hustle to provide for their children. And I know that's kind of like striking that balance. But I think like you always should maintain like that relationship and being there with your kids, because that way you can actually see them grow and like be there for all those problems. Otherwise your kid might just be, you would get like a sense where like the streets would raise your kids, maybe not the streets, more like the area would raise your kids more than you, because you're focusing on providing, but raising is like a separate thing, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's the advice I would say.
Love it. Okay, nice. Be there. It's not everyday hustle.
No, hustle, but be there. I know it's hard as well, but hustle, but be there. Make sure you're checking in and like there for like, and then also listen to the kids, bro. Listen to the kids too.
Okay, nice. Okay, last question. What do you miss about Zimbabwe?
What do I miss? Yeah. All right. Boom. I miss like the sun. I miss literally.
That's a list. Oh my days.
There's a whole list. I miss the sun. I miss just having a big ass yard that you can just like go around in. Just avocados in your back garden, or just close, fresh, organic stuff as well, like your mangoes. I miss driving into town, like where you just see where it's just all sunny and it's like there's a breeze as well, and it's just like being in your own home and being in your own skin. It feels like it's like being in your own skin. You know how people say be in your own skin type of thing, don't you? Like there's a weird atmosphere, like I don't know if you feel it as well, but when you come out of the airport,
just like the weight.
Yeah, it's like you drop down to different, I think you drop up to a different frequency or something, where it's like much more chill, you feel like you're at home. There's a lot of things in your mind that go away because you're not thinking about it as a black person, like, oh, I'm at home, so anything's, you know? Compared to here, you might have it go, oh, no, I'm a black person, I can't do this, I'm not perceived this way. Oh, I can't do that, because, you know what I mean? So, whereas there, like, once you're home, you're just home. You know? So, yeah, essentially,
okay. Nice. Okay, anything else? Any other?
I could keep going. Like, we really could list out a whole load of things.
We'll wrap it up. But thank you so much for coming on my YouTube channel and for sharing your history, your experiences, and all the knowledge that you dropped. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man.
So much. Well, thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, do all that wonderful stuff. Ask any questions if you have any for Ty, for me. But thank you again for watching. So this is Noor Speaks Out. I'm Noor, but for today, Ty has spoken, and so we're asking you, Wahra, which means, are you listening? Bye guys.
See you guys.